about us or their own people. Like they making us us the enemy. Like you said, like a while back, you said that we just don't know who the enemy is. We fighting the wrong enemy, right? So do you think the music is still being weaponized to keep us thinking that we are the enemy? Besides, the people that look like us but ain't us?
So the experiment for weaponized music goes back to Tavistock Institute in the development of a pop culture iconic group called the Beatles.
Yeah, I remember.
An MK Ultra collaboration between the CIA and MI5, MI6. This collaborative effort was trying to use what's called the Pied Piper effect. Remember, the Pied Piper came to town to get rid of the rats. But what happened when they didn't want to pay him for getting rid of the rats? He came back and he Pied Pipered the children right on up out of town. He cut off their resources to their future. Right? He just stole their whole future from them by stealing their children and brought an end to bloodlines. Whoever was part of that village, their bloodline was cut off when the children left. At least on that territory. All these stories have significance in pop culture. They got significance in politics. They got how we perceive them and where do they fit to explain the story is why they kept in. You got to remember, in order to keep something in the forefront of somebody's mind, you got to keep telling them.
Yeah.
Because soon as you stop telling them, it's going to sink into the subconscious. And if it's not required and needed, then it won't be pulled back to the forefront ever again. So all of the stuff that they keep repetitiously telling us, the nursery rhymes, the fairy tales, the mythology, the religious dogmas, right? All that's to keep that program at the forefront of the mind, occupying your short-term memory, jamming your computer processor.
Yeah, right. Hey, Rod, I remember you was on that tape with Dr. Kia, and Dr. Kia was twisting her cap back. And I said, damn, Rod, no more than the doctor. You know what I'm saying? yeah, right. Because you was telling her stuff about her career, like stuff that she didn't even know about her career. Like, man, that shit was crazy. You can go back and watch that tape, y'all, about the me and Rod did called Rod Receipt class with Dr. Kia. That's dope, man. Shout out Dr. Kia, man. Prove it.
Yeah, that's my girl.
Yeah, she deep too. That's why they shadow ban her, shut her pages down. So she must be doing something that they really don't like.
Yeah, she's antagonistic to the divide and conquer system. Yeah, if you don't know that the system of control over us is divide and conquer, then you won't look at the individual means by which they divide us up. Right? The easiest thing to do is to exploit the xenophobia. Right? The xenophobia is a irrational or a manic fear of strangers. Right? Then you have to usurp the xenophilia, your ability to love and welcome strangers. So now you look at that. Some people are naturally one or the other. A xenophiliac, meaning someone who loves strangers, can conquer the xenophobic by knowledge. But the xenophobic could never conquer the xenophiliac using the force of rage or fear. Because the xenophiliac is going to recognize the irrational nature of the xenophobe's fear and not participate. The problem is when you got them on both sides of the dynamic that you're pushing, this is how you polarize people to keep them divided. And once you get them a little bit of division, now you have them conquered. Everybody got to be their own individual, but everybody got to know how to see what's really happening. And the more people aware, the more individual control we have in our individual life, and the more collective we have at a direction of the collective.
Now, it's a couple of guys out here that saying that they trying to find out like are they chiefs? We got a lot of chiefs. We got a lot of chiefs out here, but not enough Indians. Pretty much what I'm saying. So
They carry you too much when you're the baby.
how? Because everything is being rescheduled, reset, and we know that the clan mothers pick the chiefs. So and it's a lot of people out here. They saying they chiefs, right? Some people just might be saying it just to make it sound good, but what are you? What is it going to take to qualify as a chief in the new system, the tribal system? After all this is said and done,
Well, remember, the chief is an acronym given to us by foreigners in order to identify the particular leader at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Right. It's not a real name or a title to a real position. The ancestral edict is the one who know the path must lead the way. It's not obligatory, it's mandatory.
Go ahead.
Right? If you the only one that know how to get us to the destination, you the chief of that travel.
Go ahead.
Whatever pursuit you going down, whether you teaching metaphysics, whether you're teaching history, science, you're the responsible chief because you are the one who is the specialist in the field, right? And so this is why it's so many chiefs and not enough Indians, because everybody is working on a different part that they able to lead, right? The problem with the Indian is they the chiefs that's supposed to fall back and be used by the other chief when the time comes for his specialty to be used or required. Right? So it's gonna look like everybody a chief one day. Because everybody gonna be in their own lane. You master your own lane, you your own chief.
That's right.
You govern yourself first. And you make it easier for others to work in harmony because once you got self-control, it's hard for somebody outside of you to control you.
Right.
But they won't even try to. Self-control is a deterrent to tyranny. And this is why you got to know when to STF you. When to STF you. When to close your big mouth. Right? Because some people, this is why the women didn't care if she had sister wives. She's looking at political power. She needs the strongest team to put around the king as possible to make him to become the most successful. Right? So the political power for men comes from the backing of the women. They've been telling us the whole time behind every great man is a great woman. Why is she behind him? Because she got to hold the battery in his back to keep him charged up.
That makes sense.
That's the only person supposed to have the battery in your back is the one that your mama picked.
Yeah.
Because she the only one she trusts with the key to your heart.
Damn.
She only trusts her because she believed that this one gonna love you unconditionally like she did when she started forming you in the womb. And then she'll give you all these hints of what to look for when you find her. By asking you questions. Learning what you like so she can make sure that he likes shorter women than him or make sure she ain't too tall. He like taller women than him or make sure she a giant.
Hey, Rob, what your mama say? I don't know about this one, and you go along with it anyway, and then you meet you see why
it's not gonna last. Y'all gonna end in what's called a fiery ending. Damn. This is what they call in modern times a messy divorce. Damn. The messy divorce is the destruction of the relationship because the mitochondrial link couldn't be passed from mother to daughter-in-law. She couldn't give her the key to your heart because she said she got an ulterior motive. The ulterior motive might be that you're the only person she know how to train dogs, but with the ulterior motive doesn't override the innocence.
You deep, bro. You got some good stuff. Go ahead.
Yeah. So if the innocence of the heart, it determines what they're willing to do for something, determines the value of the connection. And mama will find that if she's willing to do more for the ulterior motive to make sure that's met, than to make sure that the balance in your relationship is met, she's not going to give her the key. You're going to rebel because we rebellious. And you're going to try to be with her anyway, even after your mama done told you this ain't going to last. She's telling you she can't give her the key. She ain't the right one.
Damn.
So when you bring her home, she'll say, yeah, it's nice. Enjoy yourself while you can. I don't know how long it's going to last.
Yeah.
She's telling you she can't give you the key.
Damn.
See, now that, when your mama say, now that one right there, there's something about that girl right there. You need to keep your eye on her, son. Watch her. Now she telling you there's something special going on and you need to pay attention if you want the right woman that she picked for you. Because this is the one that's going to love you unconditionally like I do. So you keep your eye on that one.
Yeah.
Right? And the other one, when y'all go do something fun, like take the babies out, the step babies, whatever the case may be, and you come back and you talk to mama and you tell her how much fun you had and she don't give you much of a reaction. Oh, that's nice, son. But then the other one, you say y'all just went to the pharmacy on a round the block walk and she get all excited and grinning about it. You know what she telling you without telling you, because some stuff, if she tell you, you gonna rebel. So she give you the hints and the clues, right? And then if you paying attention to what your mama been telling you your whole life, when it's time for you to tie the families together, you know exactly who everybody is, where they come from, who sent them, and how they got there. Because it's a training program to understand how to read the law of balance and opposites between gender. Mama been training you, but was you a good student of mama, or was you too busy trying to be like daddy because you know he wasn't no good? His papa was a rolling stone. Wherever he laid his hat was his home. We love Pops though. Pops cool as can be, but he just won't do right. And mama don't care. She's like, well, you know, he just your daddy doing what your daddy do. She don't want you to think bad about him, but you watching him do stuff that is, you know, disrespectful, at least to you, until you learn the culture. Once you learn the culture, you realize that none of it meant what the new culture told you, because the culture they practicing is ancient. Mama only get in daddy case when daddy move out of his patterns. Long as he doing what he always do, she ain't gonna trip. But when he start doing some strange, funny style stuff, mama gonna have a meltdown. That's why be yourself or don't be nothing. She uses it to teach the sons, if they paying attention to the daddy, when she react. When he's acting other than himself, which takes us back to 5% God body doctrine. Anything is pork is making you other than yourself. Right. So if that's the only thing that set mama off, you know, and you know mama ain't about no games, because she was a gangster back in the heyday, even if she a saint back right now. But she tolerate what she tolerate from Pops out of genuine love. Because remember, his mama had to give her the keys to his heart, or else she wouldn't have it. So she don't care what he do with himself after that. She still got the key.
Hey, I noticed that some mamas give the key, they gotta see something that they got. Like you just said it though, you just really said it, because that's true. Well, they gotta see something in them, and they got in them that it's like the same thing. They got the same thing, and that's that love that you talking about. That love. Hey, this is the next question I got for you, Rod. Now, we notice a lot of people say you're a product of your own environment, right? Now, I grew up in a neighborhood that was real bad. Like, I saw people get shot because they were gang banging real bad. I saw people get, like, young people get killed. So, based on that, but to me, that just made me better. It made me more, like, it made me more tougher. Like somebody will tell there, they cry. They'll cry. They see something like that, they'll cry. Like right now, they'll break down crying. Oh my God, you know, it's me. I see that, you know, like I say, yeah. I done seen it when I was little so many times. I saw a guy get blew off the swing with a 12 gauge, man.
Yeah.
It's
Remember
crazy.
T.I. say, anything don't kill me, make me better.
Right?
Right? That's what he talk about.
Right.
Product of your environment is not always a good thing and it's not always a bad thing.
Right.
Your perception of how you perceived it, your natural grit, how easy you are to be offended, and how quick you are to jump to action determines if your environment gonna mold you for the better or the worse.
Mm.
Most people, the most productive character wise is country living. Living off the fat of the land, growing your own food with control of your day to day life, right? Country living. Not just for the sake of being in the country, it's the sake of being one with the land. That make the character of the individual stronger, tunes in his perception because he's going to learn naturally how to read nature from being in nature. When the birds make a certain sound, you know it's an intruder coming, right? When you see the bear, you know that you was had to be downwind because if you was upwind, he would have smelt you and went the other way, right? You know you have to be at the top of the tree if you want to go deer hunting. Put your blind in the top of the tree, and the deer won't smell you so close, right? So you learn these things on the land, right? You know that in the springtime the salmon gonna spawn. You know where they gonna spawn to, right? Eggs in the salmon is valuable about that time. The salmon most valuable because of the eggs, right? So when you start understanding the movement of nature, living off the land, the country living brings out heightened sensory perception in the individual, and that's why it look like almost all them country folks be psychics, right? But now, when you take them out the country and you raise them in the city, they develop differently because the terrain and the survival mechanics is different. And some of them develop what they call a cold hard stare, right? That's just from being exposed to so much trauma, so much warfare, combat, that they become what they call battle hardened. They just as soon kiss you as cook you, you know. Just as soon dance with you and bust you in the head with this tomahawk, cause they, you know, they're like if it got to be done, it got to be done. If we got to go singing and swinging, getting married like Christmas, let's go. But if we got to go thug it out, let's bug it out. You know, however it is, once we get to that level, it take a long time for us to come back to the more calmer, serene heart space because we have so much psychological scar tissue from continuous combat our whole life. So the environment molds the person, and the character of the person by the natural person has a disposition that certain environments mold them for the better or for the worse. Suburban living mold the character a little different because you're going to see a little trauma, but you're going to also have the safety of the suburbs to run back to. The ones of the boys reaching puberty ages, when they need to establish their manhood, they're going to gravitate out of the suburbs to the inner city in order to knock around with the local clans, right? Hobnobbing and finding out who's who and what's what in the area. While they down there, they gonna be exposed to the underbellies of that society by the tribe. And when you get exposed to it, is the suburbanite gonna be able to handle the pressure? If he can handle the pressure, then they gonna give him the nod of approval. He survived this outlaw conflict, right? He told us how to steer clear of that police raid. When you being productive, people want you around, because the more productive people around you, the more productive you is by default. But when you have a bunch of people around you looking for you to be the only productive person, now you got anchors on. And that's why you got to know everybody's skill set, who's qualified to do what in your circle. Don't call the plumber to do the electricity. Don't call the carpenter, right, to put up the fence. That's not his job. You
Hey,
call the
Rob.
cook.
Go ahead.
Yeah, you call the cook to change the light bulb. That's what the janitor for.
Yeah, I got to get off right like now because I got to take my girl somewhere. And we're leaving at 9:30, but it's all good. She'll be all right. Yeah. So, man, I want to thank you for coming out, Rod. Hey, y'all, this is what we gonna do. Hey, y'all, if you want to show Rod some love, I think his Cash App back working now. Man, this class, man, Rod, you be dropping it, Rod. You be coming on. I'm about to go back and listen to this again because you be dropping some little, giving me little pieces. I can go add that to some shit I already got, and then it open up a whole nother vortex on looking at stuff. Yeah, on far as like this, just the psychological place that we at right now after going through all what we went through, coming through, not knowing who we were, getting our memory back, remembering, okay, who tricked us, this and that, just fighting through all the lies. It's been a long ride. It's been a long ride to get to this point. You know what I'm saying? Many people are along the way. All these great masters like the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Dr. York, a whole bunch of others. You know what I'm saying? Noble Drew Ali, Marcus Garvey, all these guys came and then led us up to this point to get. It took. Would you believe it took that long? But a lot of people know back then who we were, but it seemed like we took a long time to get to this point of mass. So many people knowing. You know what I'm saying? Okay.
So you had two things going on. You had an undercurrent of truth that was with a layover of BS. The BS layover was the false narrative. The reason why they want us to chase reparations is so we will never assert our jurisdictional right over the land.
Yep.
This our stuff. Yep. Been here from the beginning, gonna be here at the end. Yep. From the alpha to the omega. Yep. Right? So we was looking at their story at the surface, but nobody was diving under that current of falsehood to see what our elders was telling us. And then through propaganda, which is part of warfare, propaganda told us don't follow our leaders, follow theirs. Follow the ones they manufacture for us. Disregard the one. Your leader is only the leader to get you from one condition to the next. Your leader not supposed to always be the leader all the time. It's just like in any household, the father and the mother is always changing places. When the mother go out of town, daddy got to make sure the dishes get washed and the babies get put to bed because mama going on vacation with her sisters so she can get a break from you brats, and I need to know how to run the house when she ain't here. Right? But when daddy leave, mama got to know how to go out there, split some firewood in case she run out. You know, she don't have to do it every day, but she need to know how to do it. So she need to be able to know how to fill Papa's shoes when he gone, because he might be off fighting a war somewhere, right? And it might take him away for a long time, but she know how to run things until he get back from both sides, right? The one who like the money, the one that's most competent with money is the one supposed to hold the money. The one that's most competent running the house is the one supposed to run the house. It's real simple though, because when you create schedules and organize things and get into a routine, it make that part. Once you get to the process of developing the habit, everything is smooth sailing on after that. The only hard part is developing the new habit to follow a structure. Once you develop a structure, you can govern your family most effectively. But when you don't have no structure, you got chaos. And then out of the chaos, chaos comes.
Yeah, man, and make it do what it do. Big Chief, appreciate you, man. Peace and blessings. How you doing?
Oh man, I'm taking it easy, going with the flow.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Listen, after that last one, man, the tribe been going crazy. I'm talking about the whole channel been going crazy about, that last conversation, man. So I told everybody, I'm gonna try to make it happen again as soon as possible. So, man, we here, we back, and I'm ready to get it in again, man. What you say?
I stay ready, don't get ready.
Yes, sir. That's what's up. So let me ask you this, because before we get deep into the topic at hand tonight, what would you consider to be an extraterrestrial experience? Like, have you had any that you, or what would you define that as? What would you classify that as in regards to your perspective?
A day-to-day experience.
I sure.
Look, when they say extraterrestrial, right?
Mm-hmm.
That an experience that's extraterrestrial, meaning experience that's extra than what you've experienced before.
Yeah.
Right.
That's fact.
So if you think about it, all of your day-to-day movements is extraterrestrial movements. We flying through space at 1 billion miles an hour. It's all extraterrestrial.
That's facts. Yeah, that's deep. And since the last episode, I got a chance to do a little research on some of the topics that we was chopping it up on. And so I definitely want to get into a little bit of that. But I had an experience this past Saturday, man, which was nuts, because I was sitting at the in the living room on my sofa, and I had like a tray table up, and I was on the laptop doing a little work or whatever, and I smelled this fragrance come across my nose. And so when I smelled it, I knew it was something different. And because I don't believe I've ever smelled that fragrance before, but also I knew it was an extra terrestrial event within, the comfort of my own home. Like, it was a presence that was
It could have
there.
been interdimensional.
Well, that's what I was getting to. I feel like it was, because check this out. I promise you, within 2 to 3 minutes after I had the fragrance come across my nose, and I spoke, said, peace. I forgot what I said, but I spoke to it. And like 2 or 3 minutes later, an elder called me and was like, "Hey, you all right? You good? Everything straight?" He was like, "The ancestors told me to reach out, to check on you." And bro, when I tell you it blew my mind, like it blew my mind, because I'm like, yo, that's nuts. Like, I mean, within a 2 to 3 minutes, timeline. So it was like, that's something that I've had multiple different types of experiences in regards to something that I felt like was extra, terrestrial. It was different for sure. But with you, and I know you had a lot of those experiences as well. We spoke about 1 or 2 earlier, I think either today or yesterday. But when it comes to something we tapped into but didn't go far down the rabbit hole with last show, is mushrooms and, like, what is it, DMTs or something along that line? Something like that is what they call it. Like,
Yeah.
how
Those open up the channel for psychic experience.
I say, and that's what
It ain't that you don't have the channel, but for generations of not using the channel, the youth now is finding interest in the ancient ceremonies that opened you up to those experiences. Because once you bend your mind, Once your mind been stretched to a certain limit, it can't go back. So if you have a DMT or a mushroom experience or a peyote experience, that stretched your mind beyond what you thought was your limits, and it can't go back. It can't go back to the state it was before because now all of that information is within the confines of the mind. It's stretched. So they use the psychotropics to give alternative experiences in order for people's spiritual senses to reactivate.
Mm. That's deep. Now, how does that relate to like the movie Doctor Strange and what they showed in that movie in regards to these experiences?
So Dr. Strange started off as a physician that was a savant. Right? So he's already a genius intellectually. Now, when he goes to the lady that's the ancient, her job is to unlock his right hemisphere, abstract reasoning, to give him the wisdom to control the forces of magic. So it's really telling the story, the ancient story of Tahuti and Heka magic.
That's deep. And so is that some sort of correlation to what we saw with Neo in the Matrix when he went to see the Oracle?
Yeah.
Actually,
the significance of the Oracle that was talking to Neo, that's Big Mama. Right? Before we go do anything, we always consulted with the Oracle. Just read the stories of the oracles of Delphi. Those are Egyptian priestesses that was operating in Greece. And they were the ones that penned the Greek language for the Greek people. And that's why their civilization was Hellenistic, because Helen was the name of the position of the priesthood that gave the culture to Rome. So she became the goddess Helen in Rome, in Greece. She usurped in Rome because in Rome, Helen is a man. And this is your beheading of Medusa's story. Medusa is a rank for the side priestesses. Medu meaning 10, meaning the highest rank, because she had to master all of the disciplines. So the Gorgons are the ones who was the three sisters, right? In the voodoo, we call them Oye, Yemiya, and Oshun. Right, so they steal the three sisters, and they was fighting the war against the Roman invasion, and this is why they always paint them as grotesque, because they've drawn the rage out of the warrior woman. So all of those goddesses of ancient days, that they got those terrible looking images of, and they face all grotesque, because that's them in waging war on the patriarchy when they was usurping the sacerdotal seat. Priest wars. Wizards versus witches.
Yes, sir. That's deep. That's real deep. I'm glad you said that. So now we talking about that. We hit on the last episode that America is the home to the oldest Isis temple in the world, right? So when it comes,
Arizona.
Yes, sir. Okay, now with that being said, when it comes to that, right, I was doing some research, like I said, since the last call, and one of the things that I kind of stumbled upon that, you know, was a little new to me, or I just forgot it, refreshed my memory, but there's a crown that Isis or Aset wears, right? And if I'm not mistaken, there's 7 cobras across the top, just like you will see the one cobra and the bird on the front of the pharaohs, and the queens and the kings of Kemet's headdress. Do the 7 cobras or snakes or serpents represent the 7 continents of the globe? The 7 snakes that are on
those are the 7 sisters of the Pleiades. So when she put that on her headband, that means she's channeling those 7 wise ones, the Nagas queens in 7s, they 7 sisters. So when the chosen son come, he get baptized, he get blessed by 7 Marys. His birthright is secured by finding 7 Aunt Ruths. Because Ruth is the one who is the money pot. She's the one that need to be redeemed.
Yes, sir.
And we all got an Aunt Ruth in our family.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Right? I got 7 Aunt Ruths. I got 7 godmamas named Mary.
We about to go ahead, buddy.
Or some variant thereof. My first godmama, my big mama name was Mother Margaret.
Yep. Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
And we just used to call her Big Mama.
Buckle up, tribe. Grab your bags. Save yourself first before the women and the children, because we're about to take off. All right. So now with that, when you said that, especially when you're talking about the money and the wealth, that is attributed to Oya. You know, you're talking about the Ifa, you know, it's African church, spiritual traditions, right? And also, she's a deity who's attributed to the storms. She's attributed to transformation, birth and rebirth. You know, death to the old, birth to the new. You know what I mean? So, what Kemetic deity would be maybe the closest one that would kind of be, you know, comparable to her or correlate to her energy, you know, in the Ifa Isheshe tradition?
Those are concepts,
right?
In the Kemetic tradition, it would be Aset, Het Heru, and Het Hathor. I mean, not Hathor because that's Het Heru, and Sekhmet.
I see.
Right. So they show you the image of Isis with 2 lions. The 2 lions represent Sekhmet and Het Heru. Het Heru is the female earth heir, and she's represented as the female cow. And so the cow's still sacred in India. And because they still got different renditions of the same idea, and the cow is the symbol that represents that idea of the matriarch, the mother with the udders. We call them big mamas with the big tatas, right? Because they used to suckle the world.
Sure.
When the orphans come in, some of them mamas couldn't suckle them, so they had to give them to the big mama. And some of them, that's where you get your wet nurse concept from. That's tribal. Because there used to be women in the community that used to take care of the children as like similar to a daycare. And she would suckle the different children at different times. And she'd probably be 4, 5, 6, just like her in there, depending on how many children they got. That's where that whole idea come from. That's some tribal Mississippian backwoods shit.
Yeah. That's deep, because I was watching, shout out to the brother Billy Carson's Forbidden Knowledge. I was watching an interview he had maybe about 3 weeks ago. I think it was before you and I met and had our first interview. But he interviewed some people who were from the Palladian star system, and they said that they were the elders from the land of Mu, from Lemuria. And it was dope because they shared some sacred stones that were very powerful stones that were definitely from, you know, out of this world. And they were sharing like some of the stories about those stones and how powerful and significant they were in regards to, you know, their home star system.
You got to look at, they already told us, but they told it to us in comic theatrics that's exaggerated. They told us about the vibranium, the what's that stuff Wolverine got?
I can't remember the name of it, but that's what makes his that's what makes
anthemanium.
It makes it indestructible.
Right. Then when you go to the Avatar movies, you had the unobtainium. Right. They telling you that it's the gold the whole time, and that certain people's presence on the earth causes the earth to produce gold in its veins. Those are the golden ones.
That's deep. Now, let me ask you this. I just saw something earlier today, if I'm not mistaken, and it was regarding Trump and his efforts to, I guess there's some sort of, I guess they're trying to transition back into the gold standard in regards to the currency. Have you heard anything about that? So can you kind of tap
that's always been the plan. Because the fiat system, it had a system of taxation on one end and inflation on the other end. So the only way to eliminate taxation and inflation is through tariffs and through by money that's backed by substance, right? Adamantium, that's what we're remade out of. And so when the new system takes power, right? System that's founded on substance is the system that's going to last the longest. The American system was an interim government that was only had a 200-year contract that we didn't make, but people came over here and made on our behalf, like they had the right to speak up for us. And check out Young Elder tomorrow, because I'm going to be going over some receipts and I'm going to show y'all how they was doing the treaties. And I say that we didn't sign all them treaties. That's fraud. And by canceling the treaties, it cancels the contracts of the municipalities, what we call your city charters. The charters all trace back to London, England, by way of the Federal Reserve banking system.
Yeah, that's deep, because we kind of tapped in a little bit on that on the first one too, in regards to how that's connected to the papal and to the Vatican and all that stuff. So now I saw also, and I'm glad I thought about this, because this is something else I wanted to go through with you. I saw a lot of coverage regarding shout out to the brother Ibrahim Traore out of Burkina Faso. A lot of coverage between him and Putin invited him to I forgot the name of the day, but that day they just had recently in Russia. Where do you see that in regards to the shift in powers, especially when it comes to allies and enemies with the West? Where do you see that position in Burkina Faso with whatever that situation was with him and Putin?
Hey, hold on, my phone just went out. Let me go out and come back
now. So yeah, with that, you were saying in regards to that, the meeting with Traore and Putin, what do you see as significant with that meeting?
It's the passing of the baton from the old world to the new world. The old world have to publicly acquiesce and bow to the new world. The people that was assigned from two sides of the ocean to bring this to a close is the one who came up from the dirt in Russia, who y'all call Vladimir Putin, and the rich boy that came up in America, y'all call him Donald Trump, Agent Orange. So this show collaboration of two sides of the ocean, the two pillars of the earth, representing the two superpowers. The superpowers that was at Cold War with each other for 70 years. The same superpowers that generated the most high-tech espionage networks in the world. The same two superpowers that gave each other technology that produced the atomic bomb and other technological advances between the two nations. Right? So the fallacy of Russia and America being enemies, when Russia was the only ones that sent support to the natives of the land when they seized Alaska from the French and the Spaniards that was attacking us on the west, that decimated the Caliphate Queens. Right? Her castle used to sit where Alcatraz at. They bombed it into oblivion with the Spanish Armada. And then they wrote the fictional tales of the encounter with the Amazonian women which is another story for the Califia queens, because they ruled all the way from California to the Amazon, going around south, and the women used to go there to do women's retreat rituals for cleansing and healing, like after childbirth, after relationship breakups, or a person died. They used to go to the Califia queens for healing, spiritual healing, right? And the men would be on the mainland, and they protected the castle from the mainland. But they hadn't experienced no shit like that Spanish Armada, right? They built a replica because they got to give us a means to discover what they did. So they had to build a replica of the Califia Castle. And you see it every time you watch a Disney movie. The replica of the Califia Queen's Castle. And women used to come from all over the world to learn the science of love and the art of making a family peaceful and happy from the highest evolved feminine position of royalty.
I sure.
The culture hasn't changed. We just put on modern clothes.
Mm-hmm.
You still have people trying to bring back the old culture, right? When they used to wade in the water, that's not just a gospel song. That's a tribal coded liberation song. Because when the women go back to dressing in the white and doing the water rituals of cleansing and balancing their energy to the spiritual synchronicity between water and spirit, they become a whole different creature. And we got heaven on earth again.
Yes, sir. So that's deep. So I got some questions I want to follow up with that, but we had a tribe member drop a good question I said I'll bring to the floor. So I'm gonna ask from the tribe real quick before I go into mine. So shout out to Yin Yan Princess says, what's the difference between Russia and is it Prussia? Prussia?
Yeah, when it was Prussia is when it was it was a whole empire. It covered almost 60% of northern Europe. Was called the Prussian Empire. And it was a rival empire to the rise of the Italian Roman Empire. Right? So they fought wars between each other. They culminated with the Bolshevik Revolution and the assassination of Tsar Nicholas, the rightful blood heir. And he wasn't pale-faced.
That sounds like the black nobility type stuff.
It was, because in Europe, the Inquisition, the French Revolution was the infighting from the invaders that came out of the Middle East. They came up through Turkey as Ottomans became Byzantine kings. They went across northern Africa, being chased across the desert sands until they crossed into the Iberian Peninsula for the shenanigans they was doing. Elijah Muhammad tell you what they was doing. Everywhere they go, they cause mischief and bloodshed. They find two peaceful people, sow the seeds of dissension between them. This is called divide and conquer.
Yep.
And when they fighting each other and they about to kill each other in the heat of the moment, while they at the heat of the passion, they step in the middle and say, I can solve your problem if y'all listen to me. And then he stick his hands out to get paid. So I say for a fee.
Yeah.
So they they came into Europe as the Etruscans and Phoenicians, settled Italy, making Rome. Tuscany was before it was Rome, Italy. So during this time, you have the birth priestesses birthing new civilization in Greece. Right? Remember, the first university in Europe was on the island of Crete. And it was developed and staffed by Egyptian priests and priestesses.
That's deep. That's real deep.
The Jacobite is the imposter.
Mm.
The earthborn is the original. How do we know this? What do Jacob mean? It means supplanter. What do a supplanter do? It burrows under the root to replace the original.
Mm.
Right? And so the supplanter is the one coming to steal the birthright. They tell you that in the story of Jacob and Esau.
Mm.
Jacob being Jacob. Jacob being the supplanter. To conceal his identity and his purpose, they changed his name to Israel.
Listen.
So now he's living his life with an alias.
Mm.
He's no longer Jacob the supplanter. He's all of a sudden, voila, I'm an Egyptian now.
Now, that's funny because I just saw something today I meant to send you before we got on the doggone air to share on the air, but maybe we'll do it on the next one. But okay, now when you say the Jacob character, now in regards to that, are we talking about the big-headed scientist? Is that the same character, the Jacob character?
Which was originally metaphoric, but he did have a fat ass head. But we be calling people that to imply they're extra smart. Remember, the term brainiac and the term nerd came from a school of ours called Brainerd University, which was one of the elementary schools that would produce nothing but geniuses. So when you've been hearing people calling somebody a nerd, a geek, right, or a brainiac, all that come from Brainerd University. It was brought back to life by Felicia Rashad and Debbie Allen.
When did they bring it back to life? Was it in a movie or a show or something?
No, in real life.
Get out of here.
In real life. If you follow Felicia Rashad and Debbie Allen, and they refighting, they raised money to bring Brainerd University back.
Wow.
With their curriculum.
Wow. That's dope. I've never heard of that. That's deep. That's real deep.
It's a lot of what because the celebrities are under contract that they're not supposed to do nothing for their community.
Yep. That's how they get
all until the duration of the contract expires. That's to keep them out of community activism work. Because because we believe in breaking bread and helping each other get on our feet. So when you start making $100 million as a basketball player, football player, baseball player, your natural instinct is to go back and put your whole town on.
Right.
I'm finna go put all my homeboys on now. So they needed to stop that. Because of people like Debbie Allen, like Ruby D and Ozzy. They were doing work with the people and they was using their celebrity status. And because they was educating the people, they became just as much of a threat as a frontline civil rights activist on the dark Mississippi road.
Yeah, that's deep. Shout out to the brother Jaylen Brown too, from the Celtics. He been doing a lot of work like that too. He's been doing a lot of work. So now that's real deep. Yeah. So
the thing with Kyrie, they can't contract Kyrie not to do anything for his people because Kyrie it is against his culture and his religion, his tribal religion. You can't stop me from doing for my people. And whoever his lawyer is probably invoked that in the contract negotiations. Because Kyrie be doing all kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But see, we forget about Craig Hodges though.
Yeah, I just saw something recently. He was sharing his story. I think it might have been on Matt Barnes and brother I got the other brother Steven Jackson's podcast, if I'm not mistaken, where he got blackballed. He was actually talking about how he got blackballed from the league for that.
Yeah, for wearing the dashiki to the White House.
Wow.
The best 3-point shooter in the league.
Yeah.
The number 1 3-point shooter in the league.
Yeah.
And they kicked him out for expressing his cultural identity.
What about Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf? He got blackballed from the league too.
Yeah, but he was nutting up though. We could use all his ethnic passes, but he don't need none.
I think he was dealing with a health issue too, though. Didn't he have like, I don't know if it was like Tourette's or I don't know if it was MS. There's something I think he had some sort of like health issue too. I think that was messing with him. Wow. Okay, I tell you what. So now with the Russia thing, because you dropped a lot of jewels on that. Can you talk to, especially with today's overall theme, but we're gonna hit a lot. But can you kind of speak to Russia's like their part in regards to this thing called like the extraterrestrial technology and extraterrestrial like ships and crafts that have, I think crashed or either been shot down on Russian territory that they were able to reverse engineer, which led them to be the first, if I'm not mistaken, ones that quote unquote went into outer space in regards to like in the last few hundred years worth of time. Does those kind of tie into what we're talking about? Who rose up from the?
So they got all that technology from Adolf Hitler.
That's where I want to go.
The technology was split between Britain and America, Russia, and France. This is where we get Operation Paperclip, where they bring in all of the Nazi scientists and start NASA. That means they already in contact with extraterrestrials at this time. Adolf Hitler was a contactee, and the dude they keep telling us Adolf Hitler, and they keep showing us this cracker. That's not Adolf Hitler.
Like a double, or like
no,
like you said,
he was a parody. That guy was a parody of Adolf Hitler.
Kind of like
a Charlie Chaplin. He was a Charlie Chaplin type actor. Just like they put that skin mask on Jim Carrey to play Joe Biden.
Wow.
It's the same thing, and that ain't changed. The strategies that they've been using is the same thing. Concealing identities in order to push the agenda further. They just ran into the wrong one.
Yeah. Now, how does that tie into the Thule Society and what is her name? Was it Madame Blavatsky?
Madame Blavatsky, right? So the Thule Society infiltrated Madame Blavatsky's Theosophical Society because she had what they considered real deal knowledge,
and the power to like remote view too, right? To be able to remote.
She was doing all kind of stuff. Her information is powerful. So they put a smear campaign out on Madame Blavatsky, but she was like one of the spearheads of the spiritualist movement of the late 1800s, early 1900s. The spiritualist movement in America was triggered by people looking to find a remedy for the conjure of John Dee that he gave to the Queen of England in order to put the people under a hypnotic trance in America. So this is why they gave us the assassination of Crispus Attucks, and they can't let us forget who shed first blood. Because this is how you gonna determine who was the defender and who was the attacker. That's how you gonna know who is white on the chessboard and who is black. Right? The black pieces, they consider him already dead because the white piece moved first. He drew first blood. Right? And what did he do with his bloody hands? He covered the mouth of the women so that they couldn't scream.
Mm.
Why you violate them? So now, in remembrance of any other sisters, you see them wearing the bloody handprint on their mouth.
Mm.
Because they was warned with the threat of death not to say nothing when they got abused.
Right.
It's the same enemy. The enemy cloak himself. Over here, Noble Jew Ali discovered them in New Jersey as Moorish Zionist Jews.
Mm.
Right? So then, as a counteroffensive, he created the Moorish Science Temple.
Mm.
Right? Because he got to fight conjure magic with conjure magic. Right? All of the chiefs know that back then. It's common knowledge, just like it's common knowledge that Tupac was a rapper. Same type of common knowledge.
Yeah, that's deep. That's real deep. And then, so because that goes back to, especially when you talk about the technology for the flying saucers, the technology for the crafts that the Nazis and Hitler and all of them had access to. Now, when we get into this part of the conversation, because we about to go ahead and start, raising the altitude. When we get into that part of the conversation, where does the correlation and the connection of the Nazi Germany's, society in regards to like extraterrestrial technology and crafts, but then how does that tie into why Antarctica is so?
One of the things they discovered in theosophy is something called the Mahatmas.
Mm.
These were monks that kept ancient scrolls in the mountains of Tibet. So he sent a guy named Heinrich Himmler on an expedition to recover the scroll. And they got a secret portion of scroll from the chapters of a text called the Vimana Sutra. The Vimana Sutra teaches you or gives you the blueprints to create anti-gravity flying apparatus. So they get a head start. They used modernization to try to update all of the graphics and update the technology that was being used so that they can make the craft more efficient. So those were the projects Hitler had them working on, right? And once they made contact with extraterrestrials, the game plan now has to take a drastic shift. On chess, that's called castle.
Yeah, that's deep. So what is the significance to that whole, the Nazi movement and all that with Antarctica? Because I know they have the poles blocked off and all that. What's the significance in that, and why is that?
Because when Adolf Hitler got a hold of the ancient world map, he found a place called Tartarus. And this is why everybody keeps saying Tartaria. But the place is Tartarus. It's spoke about also in the book of Enoch. And this is the land that was under the ice in Antarctica. They had already received the reports from Admiral Richard E. Byrd about his experiences in Antarctica. That was way before World War II.
Yeah.
So once they
30s, when was that?
1927. I think it was 1927 or something like that.
Because he was flying over either the North or the South Pole, and he ended up flying into the inner Earth.
That's when he flew over the North Pole, when he flew into the inner Earth.
Gotcha.
When he flew to Antarctica, he talked about the unexplored lands that he's seen. Antarctica under the ice is probably big as North America. Or bigger.
Yeah.
Right? And this is why when people see the ice shelf, they think it's a wall. Right? But it's not a wall, it's a shelf. If you see it from the top, you will understand what I'm telling you. You can see all of